Disney has a huge problem, and that is the live-action remake. Don't believe me? Check out the audience reaction on Rotten Tomatoes. There is only one live-action adaptation that has a higher audience score than the originals. That film is The Jungle Book. On average, the vast majority of remade Disney classics score well below their original animated versions. Look at Pinocchio. The 1940 animated classic scored a perfect 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but its live-action remake in 2022 for Disney Plus managed only a paltry 27%. That's a 73-point drop. Then there's Dumbo. The 1941 animated gem flew high with a 98% rating, but Disney's 2019 live-action attempt fell far short at 45%, a 53-point difference. And finally, Beauty and the Beast. The 1991 animated classic Enchanted with a 94%, while the 2017 live-action version reached only a 71% rating, trailing by 23 points. Suffice to say, there's a clear trend here. The animated originals are consistently beating the live-action remakes. But why is this happening? It's very clear that Disney's first priority with these remakes is to make money, not to actually do anything meaningful with the stories themselves, and this is where Disney stumbles straight from the outset. The House of Mouse is effectively trying to commercialise nostalgia. This is a problem because remakes, by their nature, lack originality since we, the audience, already know the storyline before the first trailer drops. In the vast majority of cases, the live-action retelling may add one or two minor scenes, but offer nothing new, the notable exception being Maleficent. Remakes tend to be predictable because, well, we've witnessed the narrative unfold countless times as we rewatched our favourite classics. That is why when live-action adaptations like Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King essentially rehash the same narrative in a different format, they don't hit the same highs as the original. While some of the remakes enjoy a degree of success, sure, especially monetary, they lack the enduring resonance of the original works. When the novelty wanes, people recall the original films rather than the new versions. Essentially, it's a creativity problem. Disney chose to capitalise on people wanting to see their childhood favourites come to life and not change anything other than the animation style. And as we'll see later, this creates problems of its own. The remakes also have an extreme over-reliance on CGI. It feels to me like, with each successive Disney film, that they believe technology equates to creativity, when this just doesn't work. The originals were magical because the animation style managed to personify animals such as fish or lions, transporting the viewer to an extremely vibrant and colourful world. In the remakes, Disney have often chosen to go for the hyper-realistic style of animation, which just doesn't work. We might hear Timon and Pumbaa utter a funny line in The Lion King, but that just isn't represented on screen because they look like real animals. Contrast these two scenes in The Lion King where Timon and Pumbaa meet Simba for the first time. The original animation style, even without sound, allows the viewer to experience so much more expression and feeling than the CGI version. The hyper-realistic look just doesn't work when it comes to talking animals, as the closer to realism we get, the more our brain expects what is seen on screen to conform to real life. Similarly, in The Little Mermaid, contrast these two scenes. The original was a smorgasbord for the eyes because it wasn't realistic. The live-action one, by contrast, is drab, losing all the magic and charm of the animated version because of the weird pseudo-realistic style. Now, you could argue this is some metaphor to encapsulate Ariel's situation, but to me it just doesn't work from a visual perspective. Music is also integral to Disney films, and their remakes often tinker with, add, or remove songs, a puzzling choice given that these movies are essentially structured as musicals. The originals typically featured a crucial song like I Can Go the Distance or How Far I'll Go to convey a character's desires or wants. The other songs in the film then serve the purpose of introducing the world, the villain's motivations, or important plot points. The movie's overall structure is built upon these musical moments, and not just as a framing device. The films lose that magic something when songs such as Be Prepared are turned into glorified speeches. And it gets worse when the music is removed entirely from the film, as was the case in Mulan. So much character development is just, well, lost. For instance, we don't get to see Mulan's feelings of unworthiness or confusion in herself through songs like Reflection because it's missing entirely. Just listen to this clip and how it conveys the character's emotions and feelings and instills that with the audience, so it makes us care about the character. And this brings me on to the worst part about the music, the auto-tune. Emma Watson's voice as Belle is pitch corrected to an inch of a live. Sure, most vocal performances have a little bit of pitch correction, but they aren't altered to the extent that they sound like robots. Now, I have no idea whether Emma Watson is a good singer in real life. What I do know is that the film managed to suck all life out of her performance. There is no vocal nuance due to digital correction. I suspect they've even corrected to the wrong note in The Lion King with "I just can't wait to be king." This is roughly what it should have sounded like. Compared to this. The musical high points of the originals have been reduced to bland, robotic performances, which in turn makes the movies forgettable. No one is going to be talking about the songs in the live-action version of The Lion King because, well, the originals were just better. Overall, Disney's live-action remakes are pretty problematic, and though they rake in quite a bit of money, people are starting to realise the problems. There's no merit in recreating the same movies only to bring back nostalgia and to have audiences watch them merely because they remember the original. Disney preferably should be creating new material, and if the company is going to do live-action remakes, they should not tell the same story repeatedly. Will they learn their lesson? If the grumblings from Snow White are anything to go by, then no. But what do you think? Have Disney learned their lesson? Do they need to improve? Let me know down in the comments. And that's a wrap, folks. Time for you to go on your merry way.